A wedding is supposed to be the most beautiful moment in a person's life. That moment that you remember when you are old and bore your grandchildren with videos. Sorry to bore you, but my wedding was like that. Even though we met only a year ago, it was a unique moment where Sharon and I showed the world our love from beginning to end. With a wedding like that, the honeymoon could only get better. Or so I used to think. We had planned to spend our honeymoon on a paradisiacal beach in Brazil. And at first, the plan went perfectly. Very much in love, we got on the plane, and between laughs and glances, we felt that the trip lasted only a few seconds. Our first night in the hotel was very passionate. We kissed inside and outside our room. Some people were touched, others looked at us a little uncomfortable. We didn't care. We could only think of each other. The next day, I had to go pay for some excursions while Sharon slept. I had not planned to wake her up, but when I was already changed, leaving, I heard her beautiful voice speaking to me from the bed.
Where are we going, hun?
Oh, I didn't want to wake you. I'm going out to pay for the excursions to go to the islands by boat. I'll be back soon. You go back to sleep.
My husband encourages me to keep sleeping. I think I won the lottery.
Sure, but now that you've woken up, you have to pay the cost.
I approached and kissed her.
I've never been so happy to pay for anything. Don't keep me waiting too long, babe. I'd hate to miss you too much.
Oh, you know I won't, babe. I'll be right back.
I went to buy the excursions to a beach where different locals were offering them. After finding the best package to leave the next day with Sharon, I anxiously returned to the hotel where my wife was waiting for me. I arrived with flowers in hand, expecting Sharon to jump out and kiss me. But the scenario I encountered was a totally different one. When I opened the door, my wife was on the bed crying. I dropped the flowers and ran to see what was happening, and when I looked at her closely, I screamed in terror, full of sadness and fury. Her eye was red.
My God, are you okay, Sharon?
No, a man came in here and hit me.
What? Did he do something else to you? Where is he? What did he look like?
He didn't do anything else. He just came in here and started hitting me. He's still here. He didn't have time to leave.
Okay, you go call someone. I'll go check.
No, come with me. He can hurt you.
No, I won't let this creep escape after what he did to you.
Slowly, I approached the bathroom. I knew I had to grab a knife or a stick to defend myself, but I was so blinded by anger that I couldn't turn around and grab one of those things. I was furious. This man had ruined my wife's honeymoon. I was going to make him pay no matter what, be it with a gun or just with his fists. I turned on the bathroom light and found no one. I checked behind the door, and it was also empty. I slowly approached the last place he could be, behind the shower curtain. This was the most obvious place, so I wanted to leave it for last. These curtains were special. You couldn't see anything behind them. I approached slowly, ready to face whatever was on the other side. Every step I took filled me with anticipation. Would the man jump out and attack me on sight? With one hand, I grabbed the curtain and pulled it violently. I opened my eyes in surprise at what I was seeing. There was nothing. Absolutely no one was hiding in the bathroom.
Ah! Help!
At Sharon's screams, I ran in her direction and confusion took over my body. Sharon was hitting her own face.
Sharon?
Help me! The man is back! He's hitting me!
Sharon, stop it! You're hitting yourself!
I went running to help her, but suddenly, she stopped.
You can't help her. You can't help anyone.
Her voice, her look, and her way of standing had changed. Sharon looked like a different person.
What are you saying, Sharon?
Sharon is not here. I'm the one who hit her. You wanted to find me? Come on, you got me here. What are you gonna do about it?
What the hell was going on? Were all the horror stories I heard growing up real and Sharon was possessed? No, that doesn't make sense. Maybe she has multiple personality disorder. I've known her for a year. Why is this just happening to her now?
Lover boy, you're not gonna do anything about it?
Stop it!
You know what? People like you disgust me. Sharon dumped me for this? A goddamn Romeo who cowers and stands by while his wife gets beaten? You're pathetic.
You're Sharon, don't you get it? Look in a mirror.
Nice try, stud. But you know what? If you can't protect your wife, she's gonna pay. Why aren't you helping me? He's going to kill me. Stop him!
I ran to where she was, and in desperation, I pulled the knife out of her hand. She didn't put up any resistance, but she began to convulse. Out of her mind, she fell to the floor and started shaking violently. I didn't know what to do, so I pulled her as hard as I could to bring her back to her senses. I was terrified. I was afraid that Sharon would die at that moment. Suddenly, as if nothing had happened, she came to her senses and screamed as loud as she could.
Why are you hitting me? Stop it! I thought you loved me! It's our damn honeymoon. You can't leave me alone even on the happiest day of my life?
What?
Surprised, I let go and heard noises around me. I looked to my side and the door was open. At the door, a maid and 2 security men were looking at me angrily. After that, it was all downhill. As if I were someone else. Sharon accused me of beating her before and after the wedding. No one believed my story. And she was not only very consistent in hers, but she asked in the terror never to be in the same room with me again. The divorce papers came soon after, and I understood everything. I was a very wealthy man, and she wanted a piece of that. Today, we are working this out with our lawyers. Sharon thought she could beat me in court if she had witnesses to back her up. What she didn't know was that in some few hotels in Brazil, it is allowed to film the rooms for security reasons. I do not consider this a victory since I lost the one I considered to be the love of my life. If she had been possessed or if she had multiple personalities, I would have gone to the ends of the earth looking for a priest or a psychologist to help her. But today, I understand that this is not the case. The truth is that I proposed marriage to someone I barely knew. When only one life is not enough to know someone completely. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. If so, please leave a like. And also, a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. If you want to support this channel and make this channel reach the 1 million mark, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can change your mind later. Enjoy.
When we got off the train, we found ourselves standing in the small hill station. Grabbing our trolleys, we came out looking for a cab that could take us to a shelter for the night. An old cab driver was sitting inside his worn-out cab and dozing. Matthew knocked on his window, and the driver looked at us with confused eyes.
What's the nearest hotel?
What?
We need a place to stay for the night. Can you take us somewhere?
Yeah, there's a cabin in the woods. No hotel here, only that cabin.
Fine, take us there.
Saying this, we got into the back seat, and the old man started the car. The view was spectacular, even on that rain-drenched day. Tall green mountains on one side and pine woods on the other were making my eyes dazzle. So beautiful.
Just like you.
Stop it, you're being so cheesy.
Well, it's our honeymoon after all.
I laughed, hearing Matthew. We got married last month, but couldn't go on our honeymoon then due to home renovation. So here we are, finally getting the chance to have our long-awaited honeymoon. After 20 minutes, the cab driver dropped us in front of a narrow, muddy road and said,
Shelter Mountain Inn is right at the end of this road.
He drove away, and we started to walk toward the night's stay. The Shelter Mountain Inn was an open campsite with a handful of old, rusty wooden cabins available for rental. A small wooden hut with a signboard, Innkeeper's Office, was standing at the entrance of the campsite. Entering, we found a very dirty-looking man dressed in brown trousers and a dusty white vest, which was no longer white, standing behind a small counter, smoking a cigarette. Seeing us, his face lightened up into a creepy, big smile. He spoke in a raspy but deep voice.
Welcome! Welcome! We need a cabin to stay for the night. Do you have any vacancy?
All are vacant at this moment, sir. I don't get many customers during this monsoon, but I can't say I feel lonely here.
Saying this, he weirdly looked outside as if someone else was there. I whispered to Matthew, "He is being so creepy."
Come on, it's only for one night. We'll take the cabin then. How much?
$50 for a night, sir.
$50? Aren't you charging a little high considering the condition of this place?
I will give you the special couple cottage, sir.
Whatever. Fine.
He gave us a key and said,
Go straight to the left. It's the last cabin on the corner.
We thanked him and went to our cabin, which was registered as cabin number B4. It was a small wooden cabin with dining space, an attached bath, and a cozy bedroom. Surprisingly, the cabin was cleaner than I expected. What surprised me the most was the wall-mounted wooden shelf stacked with old videotapes.
Who the hell watches videotapes these days?
Matthew started to check out the collection while I changed into my pajamas after a long, tiring day. A thunderstorm started outside, and I started the fireplace for some warmth. Having nothing else to do, Matthew and I decided to watch a tape. We were deciding on which one to watch when I noticed this black videotape with no name tag on it. Feeling a little curious, we played the tape. Neither of us expected to see the bizarre recordings. The tape ended abruptly, and the TV screen turned off on its own. I was already creeped out by the content I had just watched. What the hell was that?
I don't know. Did you see that woman? Why was she behaving that way?
I told you I hated this place. Everything feels so weird here.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
The tapping sound.
Come on, enough of the stupid games. Stop scaring me.
No, I'm not joking. Listen carefully.
Both of us remained quiet, and this time I heard a low tapping sound, like somebody was tapping on a glass. Matthew and I looked out the cabin window right beside the fireplace. Except for heavy rain and lightning, we couldn't see anyone there, but the sound again took place, and this time it was louder. My eyes immediately shifted to the TV screen. Is it coming from there? Matthew walked close to the TV screen and stooped down to it. I could hear my breathing getting faster and heavier. How could someone possibly knock from inside the television? Matthew placed his ear on the black screen, trying to hear, but no sound came out of it.
Help me! Judy, help me!
Oh my God! I grabbed Matthew's hand and started pulling him away with all my strength. But whoever was pulling him inside the TV seemed to be way more powerful than me. No matter how hard I tried, Matthew's body got sucked into the television. In front of my very own eyes, I saw my husband disappearing into the black screen. I fell to the ground, shaking and panting in fear, and thick black liquid dripped from the TV screen. Everything went silent. I could only hear my heartbeat. And then, suddenly, the TV screen turned on. The woman we saw in the footage flashed on the screen, but this time she was looking right into my eyes. Her face. Oh God, her face. I had never seen anything that horrifying. She smiled at me, ear to ear, and then put her filthy finger on her lips and made a shushing sound. Shh. Who are you? What did you do to my husband? She opened her dark, hollow mouth and pointed her finger inside it, gesturing that she had eaten my husband. A hunger-satisfying smile appeared on her face, and the screen went black one more time. I fainted to the floor. The next morning, I woke up, hearing a familiar voice.
Judy! Judy! Get up! The car's arrived. We're gonna be late, darling. Get up now!
I opened my eyes and found myself lying on the bed in my pajamas. Matthew was sitting right beside me with a big smile on his face. I got up, shocked.
You're alive?
What? Were you wishing me dead on our honeymoon?
No, that videotape, the woman on the TV.
What are you saying?
I rushed to the dining room, but even after a thorough search, I couldn't find that tape with no name tag. After explaining everything to my husband, he laughed at me and said I just had a bad dream. He also said that I passed out on the couch watching some old black and white movie last night, and that he carried me to bed. Shockingly, I don't remember any of this. It all felt so real that I just can't accept it as a mere bad dream. We're finally loading our luggage into the car. I'm glad we're soon to leave this freaky place. Matthew is so happy, and I'm trying my best to erase that horrible memory from last night. What gives me more relief is the fact that there never was a cursed tape. Some people make fun of me when they find out I got divorced just a few weeks after I got married. Some say, you weren't tolerant enough. Marriage is serious. You have to work things out. And some say, you made a mistake. You got married too soon. But they all fall silent after I tell them what really happened. I'm quite an extroverted woman. I love going to parties, dancing, and having fun. It was on one of those occasions that, after having a couple of cocktails and dancing for a while, I started to feel dizzy, which was unusual. I soon sat down on one of the stools in front of the bar and realized that next to me was a handsome man who seemed to be alone.
Hey, what's your name?
I'm Philip. What about you?
After that night, where he and I talked and had fun, it didn't take long for us to become a couple. Philip was just the perfect man for me. Kind, caring, and funny, although he was an introvert. He didn't like to go out and interact with people too much, but he understood that I liked doing that, so it wasn't a problem for us. Within a few months, we became very close.
You are my whole world, darling.
Oh, Philip, you're so romantic.
I'm not done. I love taking care of you. I don't care if I'm not the only person you think about, because I only think about you all day. You're the one I have loved and will love the most. That's why I want us to be together for the rest of our lives. Will you marry me?
Oh my God, of course I will.
The wedding was as I had always imagined it. In fact, Philip pleased me with every detail, but the situation was different when we talked about the honeymoon.
Where would you like to go? Europe, perhaps? I would love to go to countries in South America, or...
We won't travel to another continent.
Huh? Why not?
I want to travel somewhere far away in this country. I'll drive, I don't mind.
But won't that be tiring for you? Maybe...
I've already agreed to all the whims you've wanted. May I remind you how much money we're going to spend on that perfect wedding you asked for? What else do you want? Our honeymoon will be inside the country, understood?
Sure. There's no need to... I was just worrying about you.
Sure, 'cause you are the kindest person ever.
He decided that we would visit a place to which he had made a trip of several days. But that didn't bother me, since Philip had made a good plan. He had decided where we would eat and which hotels we would stay in before reaching our destination. It was all perfect. The first day, we left very early in the morning. We stopped for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at different restaurants along the way. By the time we got back on the road, it was so late that the sky was dark and the road was being lit by streetlights.
When are you going to tell me where we're going?
My husband looked at me for a few seconds before returning his eyes to the road, but he didn't answer me.
Come on, honey, I want to know. Are you really going to keep me waiting for 2 more days? Please?
Ugh, stop it, Blair. You're driving me crazy. Why are you so impatient? Wait a bit.
I just wanted to...
It's a fucking surprise. How difficult is that to understand?
You don't have to be upset about it. I was just kidding.
What is he doing?
Suddenly, my husband stopped the car.
Huh?
In front of us was a man who was walking while pushing a baby stroller in the middle of the street. Even though I couldn't see him clearly, I noticed that he was a muscular and bald person who was wearing clothes that were not suitable for the weather. The stranger got so close to us that Philip started to drive in reverse.
Philip?
I didn't understand what my husband found so funny about it.
I mean, what is this shit?
Philip, wait.
Look at that!
He continued to drive further and further away as he laughed.
Philip!
My husband, once again, stopped the car from one moment to another. I soon turned to look at him, face to face.
What are you doing?
What does it look like? I'm getting away from that man.
What if he needs help? We can't just leave him like that.
When I turned my gaze forward, that man was there. This time, his face was being illuminated by the headlights, so I could see him clearly. He had some very noticeable scratches, as some were red and others purple. On the other hand, his jaw caught my attention, as it was quite bigger than usual. He struck me as a disturbing-looking man. In fact, I started to feel cold due to how pale I had turned.
Aren't you going to help me?
Since I could barely hear him, I rolled down the car window a little.
What? What are you saying?
Won't you give me a ride? I really need it.
Well, you see,
My baby is really cold. We need to get home soon.
we're on our honeymoon. Maybe...
He will die. He is going to freeze, and it will be all your fault.
In a quick move, the man turned the baby stroller around so we could see what he was carrying inside.
What the heck?
All this time, the man had been carrying a bird that seemed to be dead. Its wing feathers were even missing. Suddenly, Philip began to drive in reverse again.
What the heck is so funny?
In just a second, my husband's mocking expression turned serious.
Do you think his creepy ass will be missed?
What?
Well, I don't think so.
After saying that, Philip started to drive forward at high speed.
What are you doing?
He scared you.
So you want to kill him? Stop, Philip!
I won't.
Oh my god, no!
The baby stroller was now lying on the ground a few feet from us, but the man was nowhere to be seen. Suddenly, he put his hand on the hood of the car.
Go to hell!
Due to the impact, the man's jaw had completely disengaged, but I didn't have to see that shocking appearance for too long as he fell to the ground again.
Oh my god,
I tried to get out of the car, but something grabbed one of my arms and stopped me.
What are you planning to do?
You just ran someone over, Philip!
You can't get away from me!
Leave me alone!
I didn't hesitate to punch him in one of his eyes.
Ugh! You have to be with me forever! I'll drug you again if necessary!
Luckily, the employers of a nearby store helped me that day. Although I was there, it was difficult to accept everything that had happened, but I still did what I had to do. I am now in divorce proceedings and waiting to give my statement in Philip's trial for the murder of that man.